9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Women's Wrestling Talk, the #1 women's wrestling network on the planet.
Happy Friday, everybody, for WWT Live. This is your PR princess, your Timeless Elite, Stone Cold Courtney, whatever you want to call me on this Friday edition. Now, it is a little bit late. Of course, we do want to keep on with Easter weekend. And yes, Dylan, I apologize for tardiness because it is late. Of course, it is Easter weekend. But of course, we can't leave anybody hanging. So shout out to Dylan in the chat, Eric, Isaac in the chat. And yeah, we're going to get started because, of course, we do have SmackDown and we do have NXT Stand and Deliver. But we're just going to get the preview for SmackDown out the way. We do have Friday Night SmackDown happening at the top of the hour, 8 p.m. Eastern Time on USA Network. And there will be a Honey Night SmackDown happening because we are getting closer and closer to the road to WrestleMania. After what happened last week between Randy Orton and Cody Rhodes, we're going to see the aftermath of what's happened last week and also really getting to the bottom of it because it is starting to heat up just a little bit, and very curious on what Cody Rhodes and Randy Orton have to say, especially with Randy Orton being in his hometown. We're also going to hear from mommy herself, Rhea Ripley, after being attacked by Jade Cargill, B-Fab, and Michin 2 weeks in a row. We're going to hear what she has to say and very curious on what her response is going to be right before her big match against Jade at WrestleMania for the WWE Women's Championship. And we're also going to hear the aftermath after hearing their match will be an unsanctioned match. We will hear from both Drew McIntyre and Jacob Fatu leading up to this match. And you can imagine there's going to be a lot of chaos happening. All this and more happening at the top of the hour on SmackDown, 8 p.m. Eastern Time on USA Network. And you can catch all of this on the Honey Night SmackDown with my sister Honey because she is back. She is excited to see what's the chaos is going to happen, especially since it's going to be in St. Louis, in Randy Orton's hometown. And it's hard to believe we are only 2 weeks away from WrestleMania in Las Vegas. Lots happening on SmackDown. Very curious on what Rhea's going to say. A lot of things happening, but interesting that's a short preview for 3 hours, but we may get some surprises happening. Who knows between now and next 2 weeks from tomorrow. So that's your preview for Friday Night SmackDown. Also, regarding news regarding WrestleMania, there has been a lot of reports from WWE where they're offering fee-free Friday sale for WrestleMania 42 tickets. We already know the promotion, and also with the fact, too, what's been happening with WrestleMania. They're offering its latest sale for WrestleMania 42 tickets for just 1 day. It's offering a fee-free Friday sale where anyone who buys tickets today will not be charged any fees by using a code. If you purchase through Ticketmaster for either both nights of WrestleMania, you are instructed to hit the unlock button and enter no fees for the discount, and only this is happening today. It's interesting that they didn't have this happen last year, and I know there's a lot of things happening with WrestleMania with the fact that ticket sales, promotional sales, inconsistency when it comes to graphics. And I think this is kind of another route because they want to get a lot of butts in seats. And also hearing the news that tickets aren't selling. So this is another option for people to make sure that they buy tickets. Hopefully people take advantage of that. I mean, tickets with no fees, that always sounds great, but we shall see on that. We shall see on that what happens in the coming weeks. And also with the fact, too, we did get a little bit of a report from Mr. Road Dogg himself, because I didn't have a slide for this. Mr. Road Dogg himself, after being departed from WWE creative side, he kind of broke his silence on his exit from WWE in early March, saying the pace of the job has simply become too much, and that spending more time with his family was the driving factor behind his decision to step away. Road Dogg served as the co-lead writer for Friday Night SmackDown before his departure, addressed the situation publicly for the first time during a virtual signing with Signed by Superstars. He kept his explanation simple and personal rather than framing it as a creative or professional dispute. It was just moving too fast for me. We talked about my brothers and their grandkids, and I didn't get to spend a whole lot of time with mine. So I'm going to do more of that now. He also acted about his appearance in the WWE Unreal series on Netflix, which featured him in a creative writing meeting and raised questions about whether the show goes too far in pulling back the curtain on the wrestling business. He acknowledged the instinct to feel that way while also framing the series as a strategic tool for WWE rather than a traditional breaking of kayfabe. He goes on to say, as an old timer, I think we always feel that way. The idea behind it, in my opinion, it is an on ramp or an exit ramp in the actual episodic television show. And I don't know if there's a metric that can tell you whether that works or not. And pretty much he kind of goes into much detail on that, where he talks about he was very highly on R-Truth with the friendship they had, very high on Kit Wilson with his creative side, and then talks about possibly bringing in MJF, which was really interesting. And this is something we have talked about in the last couple weeks in the WWT live realm regarding creative, where it's a tough process. It's very tough. 365 days a year, and there's probably no days off, and it's always something that is functioning and don't get no breaks. Usually one idea goes through, but then you have to shift over another idea, and if that idea doesn't work, you have to go with plan A, C, B, D, whatever, somewhere down the line. So it's a really tough process. And when I always look at this, it's kind of behind the scenes a bit, but also sometimes there are too many cooks in the kitchen, and also really thinking creative wise on the story. Who are you hitting regarding demographic? What's the purpose of it? And also thinking which specific superstars you would like to push. I know Road Dogg, as I mentioned, he wanted to do it with R-Truth, Kit Wilson, and even Chelsea Green at one point wanted to push Chelsea. But of course, there's a lot of internal discussions that we may not know. And that's very hard to swallow. I know the last few SmackDowns where Road Dogg was on it, it did leave us scratching our heads. And even the scene from WWE Unreal, where it did leave him on a scene where it looked like he was unsure. We kind of don't know the whole picture when it comes to creative. And I do think there are a lot more people. I know they went through a lot of shifting changes when it comes to promotions and leadership, but hopefully we get to see that happening in times. But Road Dogg looks like he's enjoyed retirement. He's going to be fine. I'm not too worried about it, but do wish him the best in his future endeavors, and sure, he's going to land good on his feet. Little bit of news regarding WWE ID, because we have seen many people get the nudge to earn WWE ID. The latest one is Valentina Rossi, where she signed WWE ID contract, and she posted this on her socials. Her, along with Nikki Blackheart, Notorious Mimi, and many others, have received their contracts in the last couple weeks, but she has signed a WWE ID contract, and she has been very active in the independent circuit since making her in-ring debut in 2019, and brings a diverse resume to WWE's developmental pipeline. She previously competed in AEW Dark against notable opponents including Rio, Jade Cargill, Penelope Ford, Harley Cameron, and more. And she has been recently working with JCW, NWA, and Ring of Honor. She's a former two-time NWA World Women's Tag Team Champion, establishing herself as a credible and experienced performer at the independence level. And do want to give and congratulations to her. And we have seen many people get their WWE IDs. It's really interesting to see the process on how it works, because when we saw this first started, this was a way for the independent scene to kind of really get a feel on what life as a WWE superstar is like. Not not really doing that, but also learning about the tools, the strategic process, and thinking like this could be a possible career. It may work, it may not work, but also really getting credible. Also, with the fact to having an opportunity to wrestle on Evolved, which is on Wednesdays, it gives them a really opportunity to get in the ring, be a champion, and also from Evolve, taking it to the next level at NXT, and also somewhere down the line getting to main roster. So we are seeing a lot of superstars in the independent scene get a lot of shine in WWE ID. Like I said, some worked, some didn't work. We don't know the whole circumstances, but always love to see wrestlers achieve the American dream, no pun intended, and do wish Valentina the best of luck, along with many others who recently received their WWE ID contracts. And we go from a future WWE star to a WWE Hall of Famer, Mr. Mick Foley himself, Mrs. Foley's baby boy. And he's been doing very well. He's helping out with an A24 deathmatch documentary. Mick Foley posted this on his socials, and it's being produced by Danny Philippou and Michael Philippou. As part of the documentary, the brothers collaborated with GCW and Lucha Libre to bring Deathmatch Mexican Rush in Mexico in September 2025. They filmed an exploding barbed wire match for their upcoming A24 Deathmatch documentary, where one of the brothers teamed up with Rina Yamashita. And in June 2025, the brothers said they were hoping that the documentary would premiere in early 2026, but there have been no further updates. So it's nice to see Mick Foley doing some voice work. And I know with the situation happening that he's stepping away from WWE due to the whole political landscape happening and conflicts. It's nice to see Mick Foley able to do his thing and do voice work, because we know he's a New York Times bestseller. He has a few novels under his belt. He's been doing his thing. Even when he was Mankind and did the Chef Boyardee commercials, he's just doing so much, and very, very proud of Mick Foley and continuing to do the work. Very happy to see him shine in every way possible, and love it when wrestlers jump into the entertainment space and really show their talents. But also, you know what other talents that we have here on Women's Wrestling Talk is the Women's Wrestling Archive. This was created by TK Trinidad, where it celebrates the past, the present, and the future of women's wrestling.
Women's wrestling didn't just show up yesterday in glitter boots. We've been here the entire time, body slamming through history.
The Women's Wrestling Archive launches 2026, and it's going to pave the way for all women's wrestling.
Because if we don't document it, a man might think he did it first.
This has been a passion project for a very long time. Head over to the womenswrestlingarchive.com to donate 1, 5, or whatever you can. It all goes a long way.
Let's give these women the spotlight that they've always deserved.
Her story belongs in history. Help us preserve it today. Join us at womenswrestlingarchive.com. Support the archive. Support women's wrestling. Donate today.
Support everything that comes with the Women's Wrestling Archive. So this is kind of a little bit of TNA news, but it's also a subject that we've been talking about the last couple of weeks, and it involves Miss Tessa Blanchard. That's a name that people are like scratching their heads like, huh? So Tessa Blanchard has publicly called out a wave of unsolicited contact directed at her personal phone, revealing she received 27 calls, 13 FaceTimes, and 12 text messages within a single hour from people she said she does not know personally. Tessa took to Twitter to address the situation directly, beginning by telling people to stop contacting her if she have never given them her number in the first place. Please, please, please stop calling, FaceTiming and texting continuously. If I did not give you my number or you don't know me personally, she wrote. She also directed criticism at whoever shared her contact information without asking permission first. Etiquette is always is etiquette is to always ask the person before you share their phone number. Then she goes on to say, before detailing exactly how severe the volume of contact had become, I hate to even have to say this, receiving 27 calls, 13 FaceTimes, and 12 text messages within an hour goes beyond fandom. It's super inappropriate. And as I mentioned, we have seen this incident add to a growing pattern of women in the wrestling industry publicly call out in insensitive fan behavior. We recently saw this with Alicia Taylor. We've seen this with Rhea Ripley. We've seen this with many, many, many other female wrestlers. And I will just say this because I'm not the biggest Tessa Blanchard fan, especially after her remarks that she said a couple years ago. But I do not like to see anybody get harassed that way. Fans have to remember wrestlers are human beings first. And for her to get that many phone calls, that's really drawing a line and also really making that distrust. And it kind of ruins being in this wrestling media space where you have platforms like Women's Wrestling Talk, the Chris Van Vliet's, Denise, Adam Bernard, so many other people that are doing incredible work, really want to develop relationships with the wrestlers, the promoters, even the PR and media people. But unfortunately, with stuff like this, when fans do stuff like this, not just to Tessa, but as I mentioned, Alicia Taylor and so many other people, even recently with Stephanie Vaquer that we talked about on Wednesday. And I do think this is something here at Women's Wrestling Talk we really do need to address, because especially towards not just the women wrestlers, but also the male wrestlers as well. Anybody in the professional wrestling space, no one should have to deal with that. And I do think that's really important to call it out. And especially when we say we support all women's wrestling, we do mean it. Like I said, I'm not the biggest fan of Tessa Blanchard, but at the same time, I don't want her to be threatened or harassed or be sent death threats. That's just really goes beyond the normalcy. And fans just really need to stop being weird, because at the end of the day, wrestlers are human beings. And even if their relationship is single, just be normal and talk to them. Get to know them beyond the character. See what their interest is and what they like. Really continue building that relationship. So that's just a quick PSA, is wrestling fans need to stop being weird and just learn to be kind to people and get to know them. So that's really much a little bit of my say on that. And I do think it's really important to continue that PSA here on Women's Wrestling Talk. And shout out to Lynette in the chat. That's awesome. You're going to be at Friday Night SmackDown tonight, and hopefully it comes to be a big show. And Lynette, just to let you know, Roxanne Perez came back on Monday Night Raw at Madison Square Garden, where she helped Liv Morgan attack Stephanie Vaquer. So Roxanne is back. Very curious on the relationship her and Liv Morgan are going to have. So we'll see that developing leading into Liv Morgan's match at WrestleMania. Little bit of AEW news. And please, I did not watch Collision yet, so no spoilers, but just a little quick news regarding our friend of WWT Live, Miss Thunder Rosa. Because we did find out that Thunder Rosa will be working with CMLL for the remainder of 2026, courtesy of Fightful. Reported that Thunder Rosa is expected to sign a dual contract with AEW and CMLL. Thunder Rosa has been under contract with AEW since 2021, and she made her CMLL debut in 2025. She recently wrote a column for the website, one of the Latino wrestling websites, and noted that she'd be working with CMLL and is excited to know that it will be continue for the remainder of 2026. She goes on to say, this collaboration is not just a visit. From Friday, April 3rd, I will be working with the CMLL, and I'm excited to know that the stage will continue for the rest of the year, presenting myself in different arenas of CMLL. This implies a real commitment, adapting to new opponents, to different audiences, and to venues with a lot of history. From April 3rd to 5th, I want that intention to be felt from the first minute, that the emotion is authentic and that connection with the fans is earned. I do like this opportunity for Thunder Rosa. And also shout out to Cousin Ron in the chat. And also, she's another person that has a dual contract. We have seen Mystico, Claudio Castagnoli, along with many others. But I'm so happy for Thunder Rosa. And Thunder Rosa has been one of the people in AEW from the very beginning. And I'm very happy to see her thrive, especially with the fact CMLL is one of their partners. And for her, she has been a pivotal role in wrestling for years, especially on the Hispanic side. TK mentioned this many times regarding Thunder Rosa's story, that she really came on how she entered in wrestling. And it's just really interesting to see. And also with the knowledge that she's had for many, many years wrestling in AEW, being a former AEW Women's Champion, and also getting the belt. She did not lose. That will happen soon. But Thunder Rosa has definitely played a pivotal role in AEW. And I'm very excited that she's going to be working with many people in the CMLL circuit, like Persephone, who is the reigning CMLL Women's World Champion, along with many others. And very excited for this role that Thunder Rosa is going to take. So I'm excited for La Mera to really take the victory. And kudos to Miss Thunder Rosa. And since we're almost wrapping up here on this Friday edition before we get out of here for the long Easter weekend, we have, and shout out to Gas Mask in the chat, we have NXT Stand and Deliver happening tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. That will be on YouTube, but internationally, it will be on Netflix. So, of course, we're kicking out with the countdown match. We pretty much have the Birthright, that's what it is, taking on Shiloh Hill, Ren Sinclair, Hank and Tank, and EK Prosper in this match. I'm only going to take the Birthright only because, the last couple of weeks have been very interesting to watch. And it will be really interesting to see. I mean, I love Ren Sinclair and Hank and Tank, but I'm going to go with the Birthright for the victory. And we also have the NXT Tag Team Championships on the line. The Vanity Project taking on Los Americanos. I am going to take the Vanity Project to retain. I know people are not taking them seriously, but if you have been following Evolve for the last couple weeks, they are no joke. They can be a legit tag team, and hopefully we can see them continue on their reign as NXT Tag Team Champions. So I'm going to pick the Vanity Project for the victory. We also have the NXT North American Championship. We have Johnny Gargano, Johnny Wrestling, taking on Miles Bourne. I'm actually going to pick Miles Bourne to retain. I think a lot of people are taking Johnny to win, but I just have a feeling Miles Bourne is going to retain. And I want to see him continue to develop and grow within his reign. And I don't know, he may develop some challengers in the fray. Because after Johnny, who's going to be the next person to step up to the plate? So I'm going to take Mr. Miles Bourne. We also have the NXT North American Championship. Tatum Paxley taking on Blake Monroe. These two ladies have been going at each other for the last couple of weeks when it comes to promos and stare downs. And Tatum has been trying to get into Miss Blake Monroe's skin. I am going to take Tatum Paxley to retain. I feel like there is something there between these two, and also very curious on what's going to happen afterwards. And plus, I want to see Tatum have a really good reign as NXT Women's North American Championship. I think she deserves a good one. So I'm going to take Tatum Paxley to retain. And we also have Sol Ruka taking on Zarya. Best friends, now bitter enemies. This is actually a tough match because I know last night the kayfabe, my siblings over at Kayfabe Podcast, they were going back and forth between Sol Ruka and Zarya. I am actually going to take Zarya for the win. I mean, I know Sol Ruka, she's going to go up into the main roster soon, but I think it's time for Zarya to pick up a win. And time for her to get some NXT Women's Championship gold. So I'm going to pick Zarya for the win. And then we have the anticipated match, the NXT Women's Championship match. Kendall Gray, JC Jane, and Lola Vice. After the controversial ending that happened on NXT, General Manager Robert Stone put both Kendall Gray and Lola Vice in a triple threat match. I think it's time, and I can't believe Seth is not here for his client, and I'm going to say this out loud. I do think it's time for Lola Vice to get the NXT Women's Championship, because the last time Lola and JC met, she didn't get her lick back or rematch. So I do think it's time. She has put in the work in. She has improved. She's more than just an MMA fighter. She does have the qualities of doing that. So let her get the NXT Women's Championship. Kendall Gray, she just started NXT, so she'll have some time. She'll have some time in, but I think it's time for Lola Vice to get some NXT Women's Gold. And we have a fatal four-way match for the NXT Men's Championship. We have Ricky Saints, Ethan Page, Tony D'Angelo, and Joe Hendry in a fatal four-way. And after the chaos that happened in the contract signing this past week, I'm actually going to pick Joe Hendry to retain. I really want to see how Joe Hendry's reign as NXT champion is going to continue. And plus, there's so many egos between Ricky and Ethan that they'll probably butt heads somewhere down the line. And also, this new character development of Tony D'Angelo, it is starting to grow on some people, and want to see it continue to evolve. So I'm going to pick Joe Hendry to retain the NXT Men's Championship. And that pretty much wraps up bold predictions for NXT Stand and Deliver, happening tomorrow, 8 p.m. Eastern Time on YouTube, streaming internationally on Netflix. So you do not want to miss that. And we're just almost closer and closer to the road to WrestleMania. But that wraps up Women's Wrestling Talk, the Friday edition, before we get out of here for Easter break. I do want to give a shout out to the rest of the WWT live team, because I know all of us have been super busy trying to make sure everything else, but we want to make sure that we give you all the info in the land of professional wrestling. Make sure to follow my siblings on the Kayfabe podcast, Tony, Will, and Dion. They are doing amazing work over there. Also, our leading lady, TK Trinidad, she's been busy. She's been making sure Women's Wrestling Talk is being heard around the world. And also, we're just keeping busy out here. There's a lot of things happening. So you can always follow me on my socials at CourtneyNJ11 on Instagram and Twitter. I do have a lot of stuff happening in the coming weeks, but also friendly reminder, Wednesdays are Timeless Elite Wednesdays with me, because we are on the final stop to AEW Dynasty happening, and they still going to continue their road trip throughout Canada. So you do not want to miss that. There will also be a watch along for AEW Dynasty happening, so you do not want to miss that. Also, as I mentioned, 2 weeks from tomorrow, WrestleMania happening in Vegas. So lots to happen between now and then. And do want to give a shout out to everybody in the chat. Shout out to Gas Mask, Cousin Ron, Lynette, Jonathan Lamby, our producer from the future, Dylan, Eric, Isaac, everybody in the chat that we want to send a shout out to. I hope you guys have a wonderful, wonderful Easter with your family, your loved ones, and your friends. Please make sure to spend time with them, and you eat a lot of food and enjoy the weather. Also, a friendly reminder, if you will be at WrestlePro tomorrow for their 10th anniversary, I will be there tomorrow. So if you are there in Jersey, make sure to say hello. Make sure to follow ISPW Wrestling, because we have a lot of stuff happening. They have a lot of stuff happening between spring and summer. So you do not want to miss this. But pretty much that wraps up the pre-Easter weekend edition of women of WWT Live, and we'll leave you out of here and get you ready for Honey Night SmackDown happening at the top of the hour. And thank you again for supporting Women's Wrestling Talk, the number one women's wrestling network on the planet. Have a great weekend. We'll see you back on Monday.
Thanks for joining WWT. Don't forget to like us on all social media platforms at WW Talk Pod. Like and subscribe on all video and audio platforms, like yesterday, my G. And check out our website at www.talkpod.com. Thanks for watching Women's Wrestling Talk, the number one women's wrestling network on the planet.